Well, we'll get things started. Very nice to have everyone joining us today for our webinar. Please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Scott Orr, and I am the Vice President of Channel Sales here at Doxim, and appreciate you taking the time to join us today and learn a little bit about our print and mail business continuity solution. So we look forward to having a nice discussion. I am joined today by my colleague and friend, Anna Hockett, and I'll allow her to introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. I'm so excited to be here with Scott to share with you our business continuity solution. I have been with Doxim for about a year and am working with our larger national partner clients, and I'm so excited to share with you something that has been really helping some folks that have come to us for this solution, and we can't wait for you to hear more about it.
Very nice. And please note that if you have any questions or comments you'd like to make, the chat area is available. So please post those. And with time permitting, we'll certainly address some of those, as I said, as time allows. So with that said, we'll get started with our webinar presentation today. So business continuity planning and customer communication are more important today than ever before. Now, we feel that's a very true and accurate statement, one that we feel is very much a reality. But we're going to talk about why we feel that's the case.
So just to get into the whys, I think we first need to kind of go over a few things about what business continuity is, because it can mean different things to different folks. So when we're talking about business continuity, it's the ability to maintain or continue essential functions before, during, or after a disruption has occurred. Now, a disruption can be anything from a natural disaster, a flood, a tornado, even things such as being hacked and things like that. Those are all things that we consider typical disruptions. Now, business continuity provides risk management processes and procedures that prevent interruptions and reestablish full function to your organization as smoothly and as quickly as possible. Meaning it's a very seamless way to monitor your risk against any disruptions. It's a proactive plan to avoid and mitigate risks associated with any type of disruption of operations. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but as far as, another disruption could be something like a virus that's taking out half of your workforce. Because downtime is unacceptable for most businesses, business continuity ensures that disruptions to operations are not paralyzing for you. And it enables your organization to quickly shift your communications execution from creation to delivery in the event of an interruption or need. So what that means is basically being able to quickly shift strategies or shift operational strategies and have someone that has your back seamlessly in a partnership, in a business continuity partnership, to go ahead and take over anything that isn't able to be isn't able to be in your normal realm of operations.
So we feel like that there are some questions and observations, maybe some internal discussions that you've had as an organization that we feel like we can get on a common ground with you, because we hear many of these sorts of things. So can you relate with the following points that we'll share? No doubt organizations find themselves at a crossroads at this point. Technology is constantly evolving and changing when it comes to print technology, when it comes to insertion, postal optimization. We find machines are being able to do more and more at higher speeds. So I'm sure that you've had internal discussions about, does it make sense for us to continue on investing in certain equipment and technology? If we did so, would the ROI be guaranteed? Do we have the resources to support our growing organization? Maybe the way you were constructed a few years ago was fine for how much volume you had, how many clients you had, and the needs that they had. But if over time you continued to grow, is that still the case today? Are we perhaps losing business in some fashion, or maybe disqualifying ourselves because we don't have the infrastructure or the resources in place that we need to really compete successfully, to grow and maybe keep our clients that are growing fast happy and satisfied with the support that we're offering? As presently constructed, are we able to deliver in the face of unforeseen and challenging developments and circumstances, much like we're experiencing right now in the world today? And we'll talk about that for a few moments down the line here. And in the event our staff couldn't come to work, will we be able to keep our facilities open and be able to meet the needs of our clients or our business? And if you've ever been in a discussion with a client where there is an opportunity, and they've asked you about what are your resources, how are you constructed today to support certain circumstances like this? Have you ever had an uncomfortable and awkward silence because you really weren't comfortable answering that in a way that you knew was going to meet their needs or satisfy them? Well, we're hoping that this solution that we're talking about today can relieve you from some of those uncomfortable or awkward moments.
So obviously, I don't have to tell anybody that's on this today that the world that we're living in is, I hate thinking about it because it's such a negative thing, but we're living in the COVID climate and we're all trying to do our jobs, do business in the time of a global pandemic like COVID. This goes without saying, but COVID-19 has obviously thrust people and business around the globe into an extremely challenging climate. Entire industries have been forced to shift to online, digital, and remote operations very quickly. I'm sure most of the people on this call right now are, well, I'm actually positive that almost everybody is at home and from some sort of a home office. Organizations are minimizing or suspending operations that require associates working in proximity to one another. And to that point too, if they are working in proximity to one another, there are so many regulations and guidelines right now that have to be followed and kept up with. Travel, sales, and general interaction in the way that we would normally conduct ourselves has completely halted. I'm a great example of that. I'm usually on the road at least twice a month. I have been home for the last 2 months and it's driving me crazy. Lack of personnel and an increase in demand have created massive mail and shipping delays. So we are still sane because we are a communications company. Doxim, that's what we provide, from print and mail all the way to everything digital. But customer communications cannot stop for COVID. And if I can say so, it's even more important to be in touch with your customers as much as possible during something like COVID. So where to go from here? How are you communicating with your customers during this critical time? We will preach, no matter what solution we're talking about for Doxim, that it's really important to understand the ways that your clients and customers want to be communicated with. And especially now, making sure that you have those abilities to keep the communication with your current clients and customers is extremely pivotal. Is your print vendor equipped to help you manage or continue your communications without disruption? So not without huge delays, with still getting the necessary things that they're needing. What would you do if your print and mail operations shut down during a global crisis such as COVID? Do you have a backup plan? I'm not a big person in instilling a lot of fear into people, but there's really something to be said for thinking about if your operations had to suspend for whatever reason, whether it's COVID or any reason, what is the plan moving forward on that? Our feeling is the lack of proactive customer communications planning in this regard could cause revenue cycle disruption, regulatory penalties, and might even damage your reputation within the community. We're getting so many messages and communication from our clients saying that they're so grateful that they're able to continue communications with their clients because at this time it's even more pivotal than the usual. Scott?
So the part now that we'll talk about are the specifics associated with the business continuity solution that we offer at Doxim. And hopefully when you see this and the various points and the value associated with it, you'll be able to see where we confidently say we can be the partner that's built to have your back. So when we talk about the business continuity solution that we offer, we would compare it to the traditional disaster recovery solutions that are out there in the market today. And in some cases, they can certainly prove to be effective. But we find that some organizations do not necessarily want to go to that extreme of having a true, full, and traditional disaster recovery plan in place. Oftentimes, that plan involves spending money on a monthly basis that's a subscription. That means that an organization would be able to provide a DR service in the event of a disaster or an unforeseen circumstances. But unless that event actually comes to fruition, then really it's money that they're not getting a lot of return on that they spend month after month after month. So this business continuity solution that we are offering at Doxim is a little bit of a different take on that and provides support just in a different manner. And it's via a true business partnership as opposed to just a pure disaster recovery type situation. Well, what does it look like? Well, typically we take on about 10 to 15% on a monthly basis, month after month, of all existing print and mail work on an ongoing basis. So the value associated with that is this: you as a business partner are only charged for the work that you're getting in return. There's no paying for something that you do not get any sort of services or any sort of production back for. And there are many good things associated with this that are really, really beneficial for your organization, especially in times when you do need support because of unforeseen events, disasters, or circumstances that may come your way. First off, because there is that month after month interaction of support, we are very familiar with your print files, with your documents. We work with your department, so there's an understanding there. A relationship is built on trust. And so in the event that you need further support because of an untimely situation, there is already familiarity that is already being operated off of that can support you in whatever level that you need to during that critical time, as opposed to just starting scratch at that point when there's a need where there isn't that regular baseline of familiarity in which to operate off of. So if that 10 or 15% is there month after month and there's an understanding and there's a familiarity with what your needs are and those of your clients, then that can move to 25%, 50%, 75%, whatever the case may be. But it's doing so from a position of strength, meaning that we are familiar and have an understanding of your work, your departments, and again, the needs of your clients. And this provides a lot of different flexibility. I would say provides us a lot of flexibility to be able to support you in the need that you may need, that you need to have in a difficult situation, and an ability to be able to scale that support as needed on an ongoing basis.
So one thing that I'll keep hammering, because I was talking about it a little bit earlier, is that Doxim's business continuity for communication solution can also feature all the additional tools and capabilities that feature digitization as well as omni-channel delivery that Doxim can provide across the board. Again, we know it's incredibly important to communicate with your clients the way that they would like to be communicated or prefer to be communicated to. So whether it's an e-statement, an email, a text message for that matter, we're here to support you in all the different levels of communication, not only print and mail, but also, print and mail definitely as well. So that's something that's really specific to what we can bring to the table for a business continuity solution as a partnership to you. This is just to show you and to a little bit more, to give you a little bit more peace of mind as far as the spread of the businesses that Doxim can serve and the different locations that we have. So we were founded in 2000 as a digital first company to help clients on their digital transformation journey. That doesn't mean that we only do digital, and it certainly doesn't mean that we only do print and mail, but we can help you with the entire everything in between. So we have over 2,000 customers, over 500 employees, 2 billion documents composed annually, and 1.3 billion annual document impressions. Those are some pretty impressive numbers. And the reason I bring them up is to show you and give you some statistics that prove that we're ready and we're willing to be a partner to you in now and in your time of need for the future. So that's exactly what we're saying right here. Not only are you planning the future with the Doxim business continuity solution, but you will have a true partner for the present as well.
And we also want to highlight as well that we understand fully that each and every business continuity plan that we would construct and implement for our partners is going to be a little bit different. It's not a cookie cutter type of arrangement. We understand that each of our partners may have different needs. Your businesses may be constructed differently, your clients may be, and we certainly have the flexibility and the willingness to be able to adjust and tailor this solution to fit your specific needs. So we have flexibility on that front, and we look forward to the opportunity of engaging with you, looking at what your needs are, and then putting together a solution from a business continuity standpoint that knocks it out of the park in terms of being exactly what you need. And we encourage you to allow us to please have that opportunity. You certainly won't regret it.
So we did want to take a couple minutes to open it up for questions. I didn't see any questions come through the chat, but I could be looking in the wrong area as well. Scott, did you see any questions come through?
I did not see any specifically. So none that I can see at this time.
Okay. So if anyone wants to chat in any questions, we do still have you for about 10 more minutes as far as what was slotted on the calendar. If there are any questions that you want to ask us directly, I'll put our contact information right here. We certainly thank you so much for joining us today. And like I said, if there are any follow-up questions, a little anecdotally, just one more. Oh, there is a question. Do you service companies in Florida? Yes, absolutely we do. Look forward to hearing from you, Matt. Yeah, and then the other thing I was just going to mention is, with some of these business continuity agreements that we have come up with very recently for some clients, like Scott said, we're really looking at these as more of a partnership. So if there are any specific needs or any ideas that you might have as far as what a business continuity plan could look like for your organization, hit us up, let us know, and we'll walk through it to see if it makes sense. And if we've seen it work before for folks, we've seen people be extremely successful with using this. So we're really happy to help. We'll leave the chat window open for a little bit longer, if that's okay with you, Scott. And then to everyone else, if you don't have any questions, thank you so much for joining us. And here's one more. If we need to meet a government deadline and the print shop is shut down and can't make the deadline, do we have any option? And if an outsource cannot be the case, except to talk to the government for some extension?
I would say, that would be something that we could talk about with you in greater detail to see, what exactly is possible. To address your question and your comment there from a general sense, Doxim does a tremendous amount of work with many federal government agencies today, and we have many of the security and certifications required to do that kind of work and have that kind of presence with the federal government. So I think our credentials will speak for themselves in terms of being able to provide support in that regard. But again, we would encourage you to reach out to us following this, and we can do a deeper dive on your question and the concern that you may have there.
Good question.
And I think it's important too, folks, as you consider this and look at Doxim as a potential partner for something like this. We go back to the map that Anna showed. Having 4 state-of-the-art print facilities across North America really gives us the resources that we need to be able to support you in this capacity. So multiple print locations that are not just checking the box from a print standpoint. These are state-of-the-art facilities with high-end equipment that provides plenty of versatility, both from a print standpoint and from an insertion standpoint, where we have very experienced people working within these operations who have been in this business for many, many years. And we can provide some tremendous support and some consultation as it relates to postal optimization and really anything else that's out there regarding document management and that omni communication need that's associated with regulatory industries and so on and so forth. So again, when you look at that map, that's why we're talking about we are built as an organization to have your back in this regard. Not just a figure of speech, but we think that footprint there certainly speaks to that, and hopefully allows you to be confident in our ability to be able to support you in this regard too.
And I think it's something to note too, Scott, that, since we have so multiple locations, if disaster struck at one of our locations, we are backed up at multiple locations as well. So, if something happened in Detroit, Indianapolis is ready to go right away, as well as Vancouver and Las Vegas. So there's, I think that adds even one more layer to the amount of support we're able to provide both our direct clients and folks that do business continuity with us. And that's really important, I think, to understand and know as well.
Yeah, exactly. Good point, Anna.
Seems like there's people that are dropping off, but a few are still staying on. So please, you guys, any questions whatsoever, type them in the chat and we'll be happy to answer them. I'll put our contact information back up here. Looks like the number's going down, but we're still here. And if anybody has any last minute questions. All right. I think we will thank everybody one more time and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thanks again, folks. Hope everybody has a good weekend.